Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, some things are worth the wait, and if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you are in the seats with once more, as always. My name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of industry professionals, and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more, in a light and in a conversational fashion. And if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you do. You can listen to the podcast, you can subscribe. Give us, hit that button and give us the old 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts. We're available over at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, pretty much all providers. And plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we would absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to follow us on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, and the Instagram, as the kids call it, at where else? At In the Seats, for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca, for all the latest and greatest in the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because if we love to write about it and watch it and talk about it, we love it when you can come by and read about it and listen about it. So please swing on by and pay us a visit. Boy, oh boy, boys and girls, we got a good one for you. Now, admittedly, I should have run this back a couple of months ago, but life, hours in the day, things get in the way, but it's available now, and it's available on video on demand. It is probably one of the best films of the year. It is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which has hit video on demand, providers now for purchase, and I can't say enough about this movie from the Daniels. It is such a wild ride, and I mean, I cannot recommend it enough. If you have not seen this on the big screen, go rent it, download it, do what you gotta do to watch this movie, because it is simply one of the best. And you're not going to believe who stars in it, aside from the fantastic Michelle Yeoh and the fantastic Jamie Lee Curtis. But we got to talk to one Ke Huy Quan. And who's that, do you ask? Well, it's a blast from the past. It's Data from the Goonies. It is Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, who is now back in the business after taking a pretty extended hiatus from acting, and he is playing Waymond Wong here, and he was so much fun to talk to. I was so happy to have this opportunity, and I mean, the guy was happy to be here, and I mean, he has lived a very interesting life over the past few years, staying in the business, not necessarily as an actor, but he's worked as a stunt rigger, a cinematographer, an assistant director, even for somebody like Wong Kar-wai. The guy's got a lot of stories to tell, and we were fortunate enough that he actually told a couple of them for us on how he got back into the business and working with the Daniels, and so very much more. But like I said, check out Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is on video on demand platforms now for purchase and for rent. But enjoy our talk with Ke Huy Quan, because, it's a special one, and so is this movie. But enjoy them both.
Dave, you made it.
I did, man. Thanks for the time today. I appreciate this.
Thank you for having me.
No, I mean, first off, man, just congratulations on the movie, man. It is so much fun. I mean, I can't wait for people to see it. It is such a ride. I guess my first question for you is like, walk me through sort of you deciding to go out for this, because, I mean, really, you had sort of acting in your rearview mirror for quite some time. And then you sort of, what made you want to make the pivot?
Well, to tell this story, I have to start when I was a little kid. I was very fortunate to be in a couple of really memorable movies, Indiana Jones and the Goonies. And if I'm being honest, as I got older, there was just not a lot of opportunities for an Asian actor at that time. And it was really tough for me because acting was what I really wanted to do. So I was faced, at a crossroad where, do I want to go down a path where I don't see a future for myself? I mean, all I did was just waiting for the phone to ring, and they rarely rang. When they did, it was for a very minor role. And so I was disheartened. I was dispirited for a while. And that's why I decided to step away. Went to film school, graduated. I was content working behind the camera. until in 2018 when a little movie called Crazy Rich Asians came out. And I saw it in the theater 3 times and I cried every single time. I cried because it was a great movie. It was a very moving story. But I also cried because I had serious FOMO. Watching all my fellow Asian actors up on the screen, I wanted it to be up there with them. And that was really when the idea of getting back into acting started taking place. I called him an agent friend of mine and asked him if he wanted to represent me. And this is after decades without an agent. He said yes. And 2 weeks later, I got a call about this movie. Right before I was scheduled to go in and audition for the Daniels, they sent over the script. I read it, and you had no idea how happy I was reading that script, because for many, many years, reading so many scripts that feature Asian characters that a lot of times didn't even have a character name.
Yeah.
That had 1 or 2 lines, and we're lucky we'd be featured on 2 or 3 or 4 pages. So to see the entire script featuring a Chinese American family, that was really refreshing. And it gave me a lot of hope. And at the same time, I wanted to be a part of this project so bad. I did everything I could. I went to audition for the Daniels. Super nervous because I haven't auditioned in God knows how long. I thought I did a really good job. Then I didn't hear from them for 2 months. And any hope I had.
You figured you were done, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was gone. It was gone. I was like, okay, what's next, Then all of a sudden I got a call again. I went in and auditioned for them for the second time.
Right.
Again, they seem to be responsive, to my version, my portrayal of this character. Then I walked out into the lobby. I saw another Asian actor waiting to read for the same role. And he was taller, he was better looking, he was in a suit. He looked like he freaking walked out of a GQ magazine. If I were the directors, I would have given him the role instantly, And so I went home. I got really depressed, and I said, I tried so hard, but I don't think I'm gonna get it. And I even apologized. I'm so sorry. And then 3 weeks later, I got the call, and it was the happiest call I've gotten in a long time. And I'm so grateful to the Daniels for giving me this amazing opportunity to play this incredible character, not just one character, but 3 versions of the same character. And,
sure.
and to be able to be in this movie with the freaking, amazing, legendary Michelle Yeoh, Jamie Lee Curtis, and James Hong. This adventure was incredible. And honestly, I'm still processing, how this moment came to be.
No, I've got to admit, the second you read this, it must have felt like kismet, because, this is a very physical part. And obviously, some of the work you had done sort of behind the scenes, sort of in between acting, had been involved with like fight choreography and fight photography. Like, for you, did you feel going into this, it almost felt like, I don't want to say had an advantage, but did you feel like you could really knock this one out of the park, just given the fact that this was a very physical role?
I didn't. No, I was very nervous, actually. It's just because I haven't done it for more than 20 years. I was happy I got the role, but I was extremely nervous. So that's why, luckily I had 3 months to prepare, and I hired myself an acting coach, a dialogue coach, a voice coach, because I wanted the different versions of Wayman to sound different, and hired a body movement coach. It was extremely important to me that the audience can distinguish different Waymans just by how they sit, how they stand, how they move, how they walk. So yeah, I was nervous. I didn't think, I thought the role was written for me, but just because of how long I haven't been in front of the camera, so I did a lot of preparation, and one of the things was I reached in deep within me, and I went back all those years of me in the business and my life, and I literally poured, not literally, but I poured my entire life into these different characters. So they're all me, and I'm still, I'm so grateful to be in this movie.
Well, I mean, it shows. I mean, it's such a fantastic performance, and I mean, I've got to ask, just because, like you said, you were out of practice, it had been so long. Was there a moment during shooting where the jitters went away, or was there always a little bit of uncertainty through the entire thing for you, just because it had been so long?
I know exactly the moment where the jitter went away. I remember the first week of shooting, and I'm sitting in front of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Behind me is Michelle Yeoh. To my left is James Hong. And I had a moment of panic attack. I said, "Holy shit! What the hell am I doing here? These are all legendary actors." And after that very first shot, I went up to the Daniels and I was really nervous. I say, "Daniels, is there anything you want me to change? Is my performance okay? Is my acting okay?" And they say, "Yeah, you're fine." And we kept on shooting. And then one day, Jamie Lee Curtis, she's always by the monitors when she's not shooting. She's always watching. And after I did one shot, she came up to me and she gave me a big, long hug. And she smiled at me and she says, "Ke, that was fucking incredible." And getting that praise from her meant so much to me. And I walked on set the next day with total confidence. And that's how I finished the movie.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. I love hearing that. Now, I mean, I'm curious because, I mean, obviously, as I looked you up and I saw the other things that you had done in between acting, you got to work on a set with like a Wong Kar-wai, and you got to do the action stuff. I'm kind of curious, how did those experiences sort of inform you stepping back in front of the camera? Because I mean, I've got to imagine, obviously, when you're a kid and you're doing these big movies, it's a different experience than when you're behind the camera and you're sort of more aware and you're learning. Like, how did you come into this, I guess maybe as someone more experienced in the business?
I was very lucky. I went to film school and I was able to really understand every aspect of putting a movie together, from the writing process to production to the editing. And I worked with some of the greatest filmmakers, Wong Kar-wai. I learned so much from him. And I remember when we were shooting 2046, watching Tony Leung in front of the camera doing what he does best. And for us to have an opportunity to pay homage to Wong Kar-wai, that was really sweet. I think honestly, had this role been given to me 10 or 15 years ago, I don't think I would have been able to do it. I think I needed all of that experience, all of the, I always said, a full life is a life full of ups and downs. The peaks and valleys, that's what makes a great landscape. And I always feel that in my life, everything had to happen in the order it did for this special moment to happen. And walking on the set and walking in front of the camera after so many years felt great. All those wonderful memories that I had as a kid that I wanted it so bad, but I didn't get to as an adult. All those just came rushing back in when I stepped in front of the camera, and it felt familiar. And I don't know if I can even describe it, but I was so happy, and I felt that a sense of belonging. I felt like that's where that's where I belong, and that's where I want to be. So to be able to do this, it's really, it's quite something. I mean, it was once merely a distant dream, and the Daniels made it a reality for me.
Well, Ke, man, I mean, I'm so happy that the Daniels and you sort of found each other, because I mean, not only is this such a highly entertaining, fun ride, but just as a fan of Asian cinema, I think this is such a fantastic representation of what Asian cinema has done in the past and what can be in the future, and some of the great stuff that it's done. And I can't wait for North American audiences to see this, because I think it's going to go over like gangbusters. It is such a fantastic piece of work, and just, man, we're glad you're back. Thank you so much for the time today. This was so much fun.
And also, I want to say this before you go. I've been overwhelmed with emotions. I was really nervous when our movie debuted. I really didn't know how, what the fans would think. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because all the comments and the reviews that I have read over the last week or so has been so heartwarming. And I'm grateful that all of you guys are embracing my return. And yeah, you are bringing a big smile to my face, and I'm really happy. Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, we're glad to do it, and we can't wait for the next one. And again, thank you so much for the time today, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.